Here to break down the headlines are Robert Frank, Meg Tirrell, and Bill Griffith. And first up is another blow to Johnson & Johnson. Shares of J&J are lower today. They were hit with an $8 billion verdict over marketing for an antipsychotic drug, Risperdal. This after J&J has already been embroiled with opioid and talc lawsuits going back to 2018. Shares are basically flat since then. How big a deal is this new and kind of latest ruling, Meg?
Yeah, well, if you look at the stock today, clearly investors don't expect this $8 billion award to stand. It did kind of come out of nowhere, though. I mean, people are used to thinking about J&J litigation in terms of opioids and in terms of talc. Now, this has to do with a different drug, Risperdal, and more cases are potentially on the horizon here for J&J. This $8 billion award was punitive damages. The guy in the case, the plaintiff, had already been awarded about $680,000 in compensatory damages. And the fact that the punitive damages are that high, A, probably means that they're going to be set aside by a judge, but B, probably says something about the way juries are thinking about pharmaceutical companies right now.
That's a good point.
They are the least popular industry in the United States.
I'm not trying to downplay this, but the main issue here was that it leads to breast growth in boys, right? I mean, were there other health complications and problems, and I mean, lives lost?
That was the claim here for one plaintiff, that when he was taking this as a 9-year-old, that it caused breast growth, and that J&J allegedly downplayed the risks of that. Now, compare that to the talcum cases, for example. A big award last year was $4.7 billion to 22 women who claimed that J&J's talcum powder products caused their ovarian cancer. So what a lot of people in the space are saying is this looks like a huge outsized award for one person, considering
and
what
there's 10,000 potential more people in similar lawsuits.
And here's what I don't understand, and you alluded to it. You've got the now Risperdal, you've got the talc lawsuits and the opioid lawsuits. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of suits that are facing this company. And yet, when you look at the stock, go back 10 years. You know, this is about the time that they've been going through all of this. The stock is not moving. I don't understand.
Pretty soon you're talking real money.
Well, yeah.
But here's the thing.
How can this not have a material impact on the company?
But this thing, as Meg said, look, the stock's not down that much. It's down 2%. That's $6 billion off their market cap today. So, yes, you can say $8 billion. It's not going to be $8 billion. But the investors just took $6 billion off the stock today. So maybe it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Over the past decade, the S&P is up, I mean, how much? So if you look at the opportunity cost, let's say, yeah, sure, it's been steady, but it should have arguably been rallying considerably during that time, and it's not. So
well, we'll never know, will we?
We will never know. But, Meg, on this one, if they... When will we know if they're going to dramatically reduce that amount, or if that's, like you said, going to just tell us that these juries are not in the mood to be forgiving to pharmaceutical companies, right?
Well, so it'll be the judge who will decide whether to set aside this. And most people I've talked to do say it looks like a violation of due process, so it's likely to be reduced or set aside. Yeah. If not, J&J will appeal, and that can take a lot longer, obviously.
Right. Many more years
Indeed.
for this to play out. Next, a new note from leading Apple analyst at TF Securities in Taiwan says Apple is set to unveil a bunch of new hardware in the first half of next year, and he says that includes new augmented reality glasses. Apple shares up about 1% today, but significantly, guys, are within reach of their all-time highs from 2018.
So I did some market research this morning and looked at all the AR glasses that are out there right now. At the high end, $2,700, $2,800 are these goggles that are used by technicians on assembly lines for high-tech assembly. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah. On the low end, $450 for athletes who ride bicycles or run to help them keep track of their time and their distance and all that as they're going. So that's pretty cool as well. In the middle are these for these people that want to do their iPhone stuff, the social media, read your email, text and all that stuff without using your hands. Who wants to do that? I mean,
They're talking about augmented reality. I want de-augmented reality. I have enough augmentation in my life already.
Yes.
How about simplified reality, where you get rid of all the stuff you don't need rather than adding more data to what you're looking at every single day?
But you the other day told us you might be interested in glasses, Robert, that could do some of the functionality for the phone, right?
If they could remind me of someone's name when I see them, I would. That's all I need.
Birthday.
Everything else I get rid of.
I will say, actually, as a mom holding a baby who often falls asleep on me, I have dreamed of something. Even my Apple Watch isn't quite enough sometimes. I'm like, if only there was a chip in my brain where I can summon a cup of coffee.
Amen. Amen. Final thing on this.
Wait a minute. That's why God created husband.
Yeah,
what happened?
But I had to summon him to bring me
Okay, all right.
Is this too much of a reach for Apple? Again, if we assume this really is coming, is it too gimmicky? Or is this possibly, I mean, every time we've seen someone try these, I take your point, Bill, that they are actually being used out there, but every other product launch, whether it's the Snap
Google
Spectacles,
Glasses.
has been kind of a dud.
Right. I mean, they have gone nowhere. And remind me again, I thought Apple wanted to be a service-oriented company. Now they're coming up with another piece of hardware that has a questionable
Well, yeah, but it
use
summons
and
your
value?
husband to get you a coffee.
Well,
It is hard to question Apple, though, when it comes out with something. I mean, isn't that the whole story, that they're a fast follower, that they do things better than everybody else? So I'd be excited to see it.
we'll see.
The bar is going to be high if they're really going this route. How about this? A new study shows that in 2018, America's richest billionaires paid a lower effective tax rate than the working class for the first time ever. The study claims the overall tax rate for the 400 richest households in America was 23% last year, a percentage point lower than the rate for the bottom half of households. And critics say the data used in the study is questionable. So we bring in Robert.
Yeah, so this is a study done by Emmanuel Saez and Gabriel Zucman. They are two economists at University of Berkeley. They are advising Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders on their wealth tax plan, so they clearly have a political alignment here. And the widespread data shows just the opposite, whereas these guys are saying the wealthy pay a lower rate than everyone else. What they're really looking at is if you add up all the taxes that you pay, federal, state, local, driver's licenses, hunting licenses, payroll taxes.
Cost of living.
Everything that you pay a tax for. If you compare that to your income, they're saying the wealthy have a lower share in total taxes than the bottom 50%.
Which, by the way,
that's a strange comparison, number one. Number two, they did a lot of strange things, like they took out the earned income tax credit. They estimate the 2018 taxes for the wealthy by looking at corporate profits and then somehow allocating that to the richest. So if you look at the established data, and Jason Furman, who used to advise Obama, put out a great tweet on this where he showed his own version of this data, which shows the wealthy pay around 30% and the middle pays around 20%. So
Right.
it is less.
That's the data I've seen too. ITEP, ITP,
Yeah,
33%,
exactly.
like all in, federal, local,
right.
state, about 33%
That's
for
right.
the 1%, 22%. Again, you could argue, people might argue,
People
that I
want
want
to
it
believe
to be more
right
progressive,
now in
but-
this environment, in this Democratic primary, people want to believe this, which is that the rich are getting off and they're paying a lower rate. Now, look, it's fine to argue the wealthy should pay more,
But it's
and we need
also-
more money for social systems. But it's just the facts are the facts, the numbers are the numbers,
Yeah.
and these numbers are different from everyone else.
It's meant to be a campaign trail talker.
Absolutely.
It's meant to be an indictment of the 2018 Tax Cut Jobs Act. Finally, before we go, folks these days most worried about Facebook and Google spying on them, but they're not the only ones watching. A new survey of medium and large-sized companies finds your boss is spying on you too. And this, I'm seeing more and more stories about this, people. This survey estimates by next year, 80% of businesses will be tracking employees in some way, including through your phone, your calendar meetings, even your facial expressions on your laptop
80%.
camera.
We could be being watched right now? Is that what you're
Never
saying?
get the sense we're on camera.
Welcome to our world.
What was really interesting in this story, though, was that they were talking about employers doing this for their employees' benefits, to try to assess whether they're happy at work, whether they're using their time in ways that are good for them. It seemed a lot Big Brother.
Rich, we had a guest just the other day on whose company is meant to do this. He said, I want it to, it's meant to help people at work be happy. Okay, great. Whatever the motivation is.
Sure, that's why they're doing it. They just want to make sure we're happy.
The IRS says their job is to provide quality service for taxpayers. It's the same thing. Like, no, it's not.
You'll know that you're being spied on when the boss brings you a cup of coffee all of a sudden.
Right.
Oh, you know what?
Exactly.
Dan,
Asking for it.
bring me some coffee.
Meg's like, look at my calendar, have at it.
Exactly.
But I think there was a big takeout on this in the Journal a couple of months, over the summer. I do think people are realizing, okay, if I have just one device, I'm one of these people, I have one device, and I understand the contract, okay? If I want to check my work email on that phone, well, they might be seeing what else I'm up to. I don't know exactly what else, but it is a little
Do
unnerving.
the other stuff on your own phone.
Yeah, well, but Bill, how many hands do we have, Meg?
I do have 2 phones.
I just feel sorry for whoever has to sit through all this boring data at the end of every day, in the case of me, anyway.
Yeah, you say, go ahead. You can
Throw 'em
manage
off your
my
trail.
calendar while
Exactly.
you're at it. Very good. Guys, thank you all. Robert Frank, Meg Tirrell, and Bill Griffith.